yeah, so I forgot to set my alarm and overslept 4 months since my last video. Make sure to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. In more interesting news though, I'm back on Apple Music. Why? Well, that's what we're going to talk about in this video, because it's been over a month now since I activated my free trial I got, and after much thought, I've decided to keep my subscription, essentially meaning I'm insufferable, car seat headrest, cap in hand, crawling back to Apple Music. Okay, so first, I want to talk about what my experience with Spotify was actually like, as it certainly wasn't bad at all. For one, I really enjoyed the social features, as I said in my initial I'm switching video over a year ago now. Taking part in Spotify Wrapped was pretty fun, not gonna lie, but let's go over all of those reasons why I initially did switch over to Apple Music and talk about whether or not they still apply. Number one, literally all my friends use Spotify. Well, that's not actually true anymore. In fact, the person I share the most music with literally now uses Apple Music, so that's not really a reason anymore. A lot of my friends do still use Spotify, but I don't really send much music to them anyway, and so that's not really a huge pull for me anymore. And hey, I can still hop on desktop if I need to. Number two, a lot of the music I wanted to listen to was exclusively on Spotify. Well, I actually found more of the music that I wanted to listen to wasn't actually on either, and while I didn't think that would be a huge issue initially, we'll get to why that became a problem in a little bit. Number three, the music suggestions were just much better on Spotify, and when it came to discovering more music, Spotify was so much better. Well, honestly, over the last year, that has massively changed. I have found Apple Music's recommendations to just be much better, with a good blend of stuff that I haven't heard, along with some familiar songs to keep me comfortable. However, I found that Spotify just keeps looping around the same 10 songs or so, at least for the type of music that I listen to, a lot of which is Midwest emo. Seriously, there's a running joke on Emo Jerk about Spotify core, because Spotify seems to love recommending you the same songs that are either in your library or that you definitely have heard but didn't really like. Yes, Spotify, I have heard Julius Caesar's Salad by Plainclothes and Naruto-themed Sexting by Panucci's Pizza many times. Literally found the latter when I was like 14, I think. You do not need to keep playing it for me. I have heard it. Feels good to say that to 80,000 people. I can only speak for my very niche genre, but a lot of my friends have been having the same frustrations, and my friend who switched with me also picked up on this. In fact, he was the one who put the idea in my head, and I was like, yeah, that's true, actually. Apple Music is better at showing me new stuff. Okay, so now that we've addressed these, let's talk about some of the things that I am really glad to come back to on the Apple Music side. Firstly, the local files library. And yeah, I know that this is available on Spotify, but despite all my efforts to get it working well, I could get my files on Spotify eventually. Seriously, I had to essentially just put the files on my phone using the Apple Music app and then sync them to Spotify from there, instead of just loading them into Spotify on my desktop using a cloud solution. I don't know, maybe it does use a cloud solution, it doesn't work well. I don't particularly know how Spotify local files works in depth. I just know it doesn't work particularly well. They also wouldn't group into albums, so I'd essentially just have a huge string of loose files. Album covers often wouldn't properly load, and overall the experience was just not that great. But with Apple Music, all I've got to do is load my files into Apple Music on my computer. Seeing as I use a Mac, is literally one click. Then my files are available for me to listen to on any device that I want, downloaded or not, and neatly organized. As somebody who likes to listen to albums, this is a really great feature for me, and one that I sincerely missed when I was over on Spotify. Another thing that isn't a super big deal for me on the go, as I like to use wireless headphones, but is great when I'm on my desktop, is lossless streaming. On Spotify, the bitrate is 320 MP3, whereas as I said, on Apple Music, it's lossless, which is actually a really nice feature because it means you do get better quality listening. Furthermore, I do just prefer the interface of Apple Music. While there is some neat features on Spotify, such as the scrolling discover, it's a lot busier, whereas Apple Music is just more organized for my style of listening. Touching on that, that's a lot of what this is. It's what I prefer. These services are both pretty great, honestly. It's just about what you prefer as to which you like more. And for me, Apple Music just happens to check more of those boxes. Finally, Apple Music pays more and is fairer to smaller artists. Honestly, streaming isn't great for smaller artists money-wise regardless, but Apple Music does pay more per stream, so that is worth noting. So, these are the things that I have really liked about coming back to Apple Music, but what are some of the things that I'm going to miss from Spotify? Well, as I said earlier, a lot of my friends are still on Spotify, so being able to share cool music that I find with my friends is a tad more difficult because I might forget. I'm going to have to note them down and then in the future send them over later. But as somebody who tends to pretty obsessively listen when I find a cool song that I really like, this is not a huge issue for me because I'm constantly listening to it. Another thing, of course, is the shared playlists. Again, I'm pretty sure these are available on Apple Music, but as I said, most of my friends use Spotify, so Spotify is where our shared playlist is. As I said, I still can add to that on desktop, so it's not a huge deal, and I am more of a solitary listener anyway. Solitary Stone. Steven Universe, my second favorite cartoon. See if you can guess my favorite. One more thing I could miss, but don't, is the podcasts. I don't really listen to podcasts on the go, but if you are a big fan of podcasts, there is a separate app for that on Apple Music included in the price. It can be a little bit annoying, especially if you listen to a lot of podcasts and music. Having it all in one on Spotify is a really cool feature, but as somebody who doesn't listen to podcasts on the go, the only one I really listen to is Adam Ragusia's podcast anyway, and I always listen to that at home anyway. I find podcasts is more of a sit down and listen to thing while you're at home rather than a throw on the go thing for me, so this really isn't a huge deal, and I prefer it separate anyway because to me it's more organized, but that is worth noting if that is more to your taste. As for the things I miss, well, that's pretty much it. I really don't think these apps offer massively different services, but the things that Apple Music does offer, like better local file sync and a more suited interface to my listening style, do seem to suit me better, hence why I switched back. It's all about finding out which little quality of life improvements would affect you most, and going from there. Alright, so if you're new here, that's about it for this one. Be sure to subscribe for more chill tech videos, but if you're not new here, well, I should probably tell you guys where I've been. So, the main reason I left is because of medication. I've been on a lot of medication over the last few years. Finally found one that works. I'm on quetiapine at the moment, and yeah, it's working great. That's basically it on the medication front. I didn't really feel well enough to make videos for a long time, but now I do, and I've been aching to make videos over the last few weeks. I thought I'd give myself a few more weeks to really adjust, but man, oh, it is so good to be back. Another reason why I was hesitant to come back is because I felt like I'd boxed myself into something, and I don't mean in content. I felt like I'd created this BubVisuals character that really wasn't me. It was this internet personality that I was having to play several times a week, and I really wasn't enjoying it anymore. I really don't understand why I made it such a big deal as well, because like, hate comments really just genuinely don't bother me, and so I'm not really sure why I put so much effort into maintaining this squeaky clean persona that just wasn't me. If I want to look a certain way, I will. If I want to wear green flip-flops with socks, then I will. It's my shit. If I want to dress like a budget Strange Eons, then I will. I am sincerely lucky, and I do consider myself to be very lucky to the fact that I have such a lovely audience. And yeah, while it may not be the biggest, I am glad that we have this little space on the internet where we can just chill and talk about tag. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry again that I've been gone so long. Do let me know, by the way, which you prefer, Apple Music or Spotify, and which features sway you in which direction. Feel free to leave me a comment on that. As for now, though, as always, thank you for watching. Remember to like the video. If you want to see more content like this, then smash that subscribe button. I'm done for now, and I will see you guys in the next one. Feels good to do that again.